Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time stopping by. Today we are going to be beginning my 2025 deck collection update videos. So I like to do a collection update once a year if I can bring myself to do it, because these take a lot of time. And what I thought I would do this year, number one, whenever I do a collection update, I'm pulling out chunks of decks, and I'm often looking at decks as how they fit into my collection, what their role is, how I feel about them. Are they still serving a spot? I'm starting to get a little bit cluttered, so I'm hoping I can find a few things that I'm ready to move along, but I am not making decluttering my main priority here. I may just need to actually organize my stuff instead of simply decluttering. I'm not making any promises about how much I am or am not going to declutter. I'm not going to call it a brutal declutter, but you never know. Sometimes if you catch me in a category of decks where I have too much or whatnot, you might find that these videos do find me decluttering. With that said, before I get into this, hello, if you're new here, my name is Lisa. I like to make tarot content here on YouTube, and I am also a tarot deck creator and an author. I will throw a graphic up so you can see where you can get all of my currently available things, but I would also like to let you know that I am launching a Kickstarter hopefully very soon. I'm in the process of preparing to order prototypes at the time I'm filming this. By the time you see this video, I'm hopeful that prototypes are already in progress, like are being manufactured as we speak. Once I get prototypes in of my deck, I will be launching the Kickstarter. So stay tuned. Make sure you go click notify me on launch on the Kickstarter link if you want to be notified on launch. It's looking like we're going to be looking at sometime, hopefully early July. If I can make it happen sooner, I will, but we'll see. I'm trying to hedge my bets here, but sometime in the next few weeks, I will be launching this on Kickstarter. The Kickstarter will be open for a shorter period of time than previous campaigns, mostly to calm my poor nerves, but regardless, keep your eyes peeled. You'll definitely want to stay tuned so that you can see when that launches, but that is going to be, wow, did I even say the name of the deck? Probably not. Unicorn's Journey Oracle, which is the companion deck to my original Unicorn's Journey Tarot, but I'm also hopeful it's going to be just an incredible standalone deck on its own, something you can just pull out and use whether or not you have the tarot. That's how I designed it, so that it could be used either way, and I'm really I put all of my favorite things into this Oracle deck, so I hope you guys are going to love it. But regardless, we're going to get into the actual collection. So the first category of decks that we're going to be doing together are my comforting decks. And I've got categories, and we'll probably be going through the categories somewhat alphabetically because I have a spreadsheet and that's how I roll. But anyways, we are going to be talking about in the ballpark of 20-ish decks every single time I make a collection video, sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but they will be in these categories so that hopefully these videos can serve as sort of mini reviews, how I feel about these decks, how they're working out for me, etc. And you can get a feeling for decks that you might find comforting in your practice. So I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'm babbling because that's what I do. Let's get into it. All right. So first in my collection of comforting decks, we have the Flow Tarot. Oh my gosh. I don't have very many photographic decks. Watch me be a total liar as we go through my collection together. The Flow Tarot is just, I think, an incredible deck. It's definitely more than meets the eye. I find this intensely comforting and healing. When I'm going through periods of real difficulty, this is probably my favorite deck for just feeling soothed. And I think part of that is because water for me is very soothing. And part of it is because it is so wonderfully designed, this deck. When I first saw this on social media, I was really hung up on the suit assignments. I was like, great example, why is snow swords when snow is a physical form of water? Shouldn't that be like earth, for example? Or why are clouds cups? Well, clouds are in the air, so they should be air. But when I got this deck and I went through the guidebook, which I didn't pull down for you guys, but there's a separate physical guidebook that I highly, highly recommend. At least, actually, they may come in a set. It may come in a set. But regardless, the way that it was described, I think, made so much sense, which is that number one, there's alliteration. So sea, cups, sea, clouds, clouds are cups. It just makes it easy to remember, which I think is really smart. But there's another layer to that. Cups being clouds actually does make sense because clouds contain the water. They are a container for water, and then they release that water. So they hold it or they release it in various forms. It's actually a really beautiful allegory for the cup suit. And snow for the clouds, snow, S, swords, perfect, right? I do see the sword suit as something that's creates a lot of clarity. Everything is visible in the bright light of reflective snow. And I think that really makes sense. Pawns are pentacles, P, pawns, pentacles, but also feature a lot of earthy the elements in the images, but also makes sense. Again, that's the earthy container for water. And waves are wands, and that makes sense both from the W, but also because waves are very dynamic. But see, doesn't that feel like earthy water, this Four of Wands? I really enjoy this deck. I love this Lover's card so much. But legitimately, when I've gone through periods of like grieving of some sort or another, I have found myself reaching for this deck, and it is, gosh, I can't imagine another photographic deck that I love this much. But again, watch me be wrong. I'm just racking my brain now. But anyway, I love the Flow Tarot. I think it's really, really beautiful, and it reads really well for me. It isn't something I reach for a lot, and I don't think I've really used it much in reading for other people. But one thing I will say is that if you're struggling a little bit with the fact that it's like all water, one thing that really, really boosts this deck and makes it infinitely more usable, in spite of the fact that you're looking at photographs and there's not that traditional composition scene people to kind of bounce off of, is there are keywords baked into the title bars here. So here you have 3 of snow, locked in ice, 2 of waves, surging power, 7 of waves, endure, 4 of snow, accept stillness. And so it makes this deck so relaxing to use. It's not effortful. 4 of clouds is waiting for rain. King of snow is vision. You get the idea. So you have these really great keywords. So it functions really well out of the box without having to like expend a lot of mental energy. And oh, it's so good. Anyways, I clearly cannot talk like for 10 minutes about every deck, or we will literally be here for a very, very long time. Anyways, this is secure in my collection, I think, at this point, but I do really enjoy it. Okay. Also in comforting decks, we have none other than the Gentle Tarot. This is such a great deck. Here's my struggle from a decluttering standpoint. I have this deck in the original indie version with the thick cardstock. In fact, let me grab that. So here's my debate. The original indie version is absolutely beautiful. Like, it's such wonderful cardstock. It's really like luxe, but it's chunky. It is a little trickier to shuffle. Like, I think it shuffles fine. Man, I really actually kind of like this original version. I had swapped to the linen version, which I do think is beautiful. I have so many like issues around this because I can never decide if I want the indie they're all indie. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The original version with like the gilding on the sides and like the like matte laminated cardstock that just feels really good. And then there's the linen. The decision may be made easier for me when I get my friend Fire, the companion oracle, to this deck in, because I think I'm getting that one in linen. I'm trying to remember now. It's been a little bit. So I will want the Tarot and Oracle to have the same cardstock. This one is just so wonderfully shuffleable. But the thing is, it feels excessive to me to have both. I'm not a big person to have like backup decks and things like that, but like the linen for the Gentle Tarot is just, like, it shuffles like a dream. I like the size. As you can see, it's a bit smaller. It's obviously less chunky, but like, I mean, when you look at the colors, they are a bit richer in this version. But the linen is also, I don't know. And I love this little pocket guidebook, by the way, that came with the original. There's also an expanded guidebook, which I have. I just wonder if, in truth, I don't reach for this deck a lot. Like, it is a very comforting deck. Obviously, that's why it's in this category. When it comes to like the experience of it, I'm so torn because I love the shuffle of linen. But for some reason with this deck, I keep kind of coming back to this matte laminated kind of soft feeling. Something about this seems to suit the energy of the deck. But I had a hand injury in January, and I think it just made me acutely aware of how much being able to shuffle ends up mattering to me in the long run. And I told myself I would use it more. Like, let's look at this card as a comparison here, because I'm pretty sure I saw our otters. Yeah, there they are. The Seed of Cups. Otter. This is our Page of Cups card. It's definitely, the colors are much richer in this version. And also, I'm looking now and I'm realizing there's some decorations like around the borders. Like, you can see some like little line art things here and here. But there's a depth of color in this version that is just really, it just hits different. And maybe it's because I know this was how it was originally done. I want to obsess over the linen. I don't know what to do here. I literally don't know what to do. And I'm tempted to say, let me just put all of this together in this bag until I figure it out, because I've got to figure it out. I think at the end of the day, I think the original, I just feel like this feels, maybe it's just because I had so much more time with this one, but this one feels more like the Gentle Tarot to me. Is this easier to handle? Yeah, it really is. I don't know what to do, but it's like a slightly different shape, so the art had to be reformatted in places. I legit don't know what to do. I don't feel like I need both, but I have both and I like both. I don't know. I might have to wait till the oracle comes in before I decide. I'm super torn. So I'm just going to keep these together for now, because I've tried to keep them separately, and like, it's not like this bag can't hold them. Like, the bag is going to be able to do that just fine. So I guess I'll just do that for now and try to figure it out, but I don't know what to do. Anyways, I didn't end up talking much about the actual deck. I really find this a comforting deck to read. It is one I use the guidebook with, and usually for myself, and I really enjoy that. But I don't know. I guess we'll see when my friend Fire comes in. Okay, this one is classic comfort deck for me. This is the Guardian Angel Tarot by Doreen Virtue. And, well, now it says Radley Valentine, or I guess now it's out of print. But it went from a Doreen and Radley, like, hybrid, or what do you call it, collab deck, to just having Radley Valentine's name on it. This is, like I said, out of print now. Mine is a modified version. I followed a Dawn Michelle tutorial. I've told this story a bunch of times on the channel, so I apologize if you've heard it a bunch. But the modification took the gilding off and made it softer at the edges, and it was probably the best job I ever did modifying a deck. This is a regular one I like to use for bedtime pulls. It's just super, it's one of the most comforting decks. Like, when I think of comforting decks, this would, if I was to like make an album of photos of all my comforting decks, this would be like the thumbnail picture for the album itself, because it just is quintessential comforting to me. It's easy to work with. It's very gentle, but also it gives you the messages right on the cards. There's, again, low mental energy. And with a deck like Gentle Tarot, I feel like I need to put in a little more energy. I need to look up the guidebook. It doesn't immediately always speak to me. I need to take that extra step. But with a deck like this, having the messages right on the cards, like, I immediately know what it's telling me. It's always a really nice, soothing message. Even when it's telling me something I don't want to hear, or pointing out a challenge I may be going through, it always adds that layer of like support to the message that just makes it really like a hug. These are all hug decks. This is basically my hug deck collection. That's what we're talking about. And all of these kind of feel like that to varying degrees. But this actually tends to live in a little basket of decks I keep specifically for bedtime readings. So that tells you a little bit of how it functions in my practice. These next two are basically a set now, and it makes me really happy. So I have the Healing Waves Tarot. This is also out of print at the moment. I apologize. I think, I'm trying to remember if there's still ways to get this, or if it came out in a different version. But that is Healing Waves. And then this is the Dreaming Waves Oracle by the same creator. And this, I mean, these were just, these feel like you're holding, actually, I don't know how many cards is in the Dreaming Waves Oracle. I don't know if they're numbered. Are they numbered? They are not numbered. So I'm not sure how many, but they feel, well, I guess we'll see when we hold them next to each other. It feels like the same card stock. I'd say we have about 60 cards maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing based on the size of everything. But the Dreaming Waves box looks like this. But you can see they're both wave backs. The cardstock is the same between these. Feels to me, if I remember correctly, it was like I want to say this was like a black core, but I could be wrong. And we have colored edges, which is really nice. And obviously these two are like, they're the same artist. I just got this in, so I'm really excited about it right now. But the Healing Waves, much like the Flow Tarot, I think there is something for me about watery decks just feeling very comforting in general, because I'm a water baby, and also because I personally associate water with something that is soothing and comforting and helps me find my peace. I literally feel like my blood pressure going down when I look at a deck like this. I just feel it happening. And the Dreaming Waves, I'm so excited about this one because it has, I think I have shuffled this, but this has just fabulous keywords on it. Just beautiful, beautiful artwork. And because it was the same artist, Nawan Junhasiri? Yeah, Nawan Junhasiri. These are the two box covers. But because of that, it just feels very, very cohesive. Like, I mean, look it. Just look it. It's just lovely. I'm hopefully going to be working with this pairing. You're seeing this video in June, but I think I might pull these out. you know what? I might just work with these for myself. Oh, look what I did. It's the Page of Air and the Puffin, and they came up together, and look, 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 look. Oh my God, that makes me so happy. They're both puffins. Oh, they're so cute. But this has some shadowy themes, and obviously the tarot does as well. So these I think are going to be really balanced and play really nicely together. But anyways, I am going to be pulling these into my practice. They're very safe, obviously. I love the healing waves. I wasn't reaching for it a lot, and I think part of it was a little bit of that mentality I get where once something goes out of print, it sometimes like starts to feel, I try not to do this. I use everything I have, but it can start to feel a little precious. I only have the one copy. I don't do backups. I don't want to do backups. I don't want to ever get in a place where I feel like that's necessary because frankly, with as many decks as I have, I could probably, what if I could just put these in the same bag? Because it's not like I'm going to use them separately from each other. Let me just check, because I just grabbed this other bag randomly, but let me just see if they fit. Oh, they do fit together. Oh. I'm just going to keep them. I mean, it's a little bit of a cram, but I think I'm just going to keep them together and work with them together. Why not? But that is healing waves. Look at me just stuffing bags. Apparently that's one of the things we're doing today. Next up are some Three Trees Tarot decks, but two specifically that I put in this comforting category. And that is the Heartwood Tarot and the Thistledown Oracle. The Thistledown Tarot to me is like ultimate cozy vibes. And it's funny because I did not put the other, like the Oak Ash and Thorn and the Smoke Ash and Embers into this category, funny enough. But Thistledown to me has the cozy vibes on lock. This is the first edition. Same thing here. These are my original copies. So the thing about Heartwood to me is that it has this like exploring an abandoned magical cottage. It feels very inviting in this like really lovely, gentle, slow way. Nothing feels speedy about this deck at all. And I think maybe I should have put this in with maybe, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think it kind of lives in this comforting space, but I like to use these two together. I like to pair this Oracle with all of the Three Trees decks. So I tend to keep them all together on a rack, but when I think of comforting decks, this is like right up at the top of the list. It's just, there's something about this that is just so unique and fun, but it's slow. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like there's a lot of rest in this deck. There's a little bit of whimsy, but it doesn't feel overly magical. Like it feels like it still exists in a way, like it just like one little tick off, like one little sidestep from our reality, like just a little bit. There's a bit of magic, but it's not so much that it's hard to wrap the brain around. I just think this is such a charming deck and I absolutely love it. I mean, I love everything that Stephanie and Adam do together, so I'm intensely biased because I'm a huge fan of their work. I love Stephanie's brain. I like how she conceptualizes deck ideas. I really like Adam's artwork, and this is just, it's ultimate cozy vibes. I really love it. And this one is borderless, as is the first edition that I have here of the Thistledown. They've got, like I said, a new edition that has borders now. But because these are both borderless, I just think they work really well as like a little pairing. And I know some people are the opposite. You want to see borders to kind of break that up. But when we're talking about this guy, the Thistledown, this works really well with the world of Smoke Ash and Embers, the world of Oak Ash and Thorn, and the world of the Heartwood. It does really good with all of them. Isn't it just, isn't it just? It's so great. The keywords are great. I love the size of it. This to me is such a great size for an Oracle deck. I much prefer a size like this or a tarot size to a big chunky size. I find it infinitely more usable that way. But anyway, I really love Heartwood. I definitely think it stands alone. I think it's kind of meant to stand alone. This deck is, actually this one doesn't have a new edition, I don't believe. It was the Smoke Ash and Embers and the Oak Ash and Thorn and the Thistledown that got new editions. But regardless, I really, really love this one. It does feel like it's connected to that universe, but also exists on its own. Really love it. And the Thistledown, man, again, it pairs so beautifully with all of the Three Trees Tarot. Like, look at the little spider guy. He's so cute. And I never say that about spiders ever, ever, ever. But, like, that one's really cute. I think it's really cute. Oh, my gosh. I mean, are these kind of like animal decks? Yeah, but then there's dragons, and there's whimsy, and there's little magic, and it's its own thing. And all of the Three Trees stuff feels cozy to a degree to me, but these are, like, the coziest of those. Speaking of cozy, another cozy deck and a newer one to my collection is the Magical Nature Tarot. This one, Part of what makes it comforting and cozy is the cardstock. It just feels really good. I don't know how else to describe it. It's wild to me to have a cardstock that is, I know it doesn't have a core, but it somehow doesn't feel as like slappy floppy as some of the other coreless cards do. This one just feels really nice. There's a lot of earthy tones here. I'm actually going to probably put this head to head with the next deck though, because I love the shuffle. I love all the texture. I love the plant energies. This reads really well. I love the, like, you can see the three-dimensional nature of some of the collage, or at least it's been digitally done to give you like, there's like a drop shadow behind the art that just, it makes it feel like it just makes the art itself physically kind of feel like it's coming alive a bit. I mean, the borders are arguably gigantic on this. Like, it's unnecessarily gigantic. However, man, this is actually giving me vibes like another deck I have. And now I'm like, do I need both? This is such a cool deck, though. This one feels out of place because there's so much, like, earth and nature. And then, which makes sense for the card. But then in the tower, you have this, like, very industrial-looking image. Okay, I need to not flip through the whole thing. My problem with this deck is only that I feel like when I'm craving this like really earthy, grounded energy, I do tend to reach for other decks. But this is new enough in my collection that I don't know. And I was really curious about the cardstock. That was actually a big part of it. This is this great little deck. Okay, let me look at the next one because I think it's giving me vibes of the next deck too. So the next deck I have here is the Sasuraibito. Now this is a later printing. I believe this was the 5th edition or the 5th printing or something. But this was when it came out matte. It might say, oh no, this is the 8th printing. It literally says printing 8 there. I was pulling this out of the box. And the first card I see, which I'm going to just cover up, is the 9 of Cups. I love this. This is like my favorite 9 of Cups of all time. I love this 9 of Cups. It gives major self-love vibes, which is one of, I think, the most overlooked qualities of that card and what it means. At least, again, in my practice, I see the 9 of Cups as very much a self-love, self-worth kind of card. I'm going to try not to show nudity. I'm trying because YouTube's been all up in things lately, just having a hissy fit. Anyway, one of the things I'm debating with about the Sasuraibito is I just have not reached for this in a really long time. And I don't love the wands suit, especially compared to the rest of the suits. It feels a little empty. Like it gets kind of like, it's kind of weirdly devoid of people or animals or characters. Love this King of Cups. And so I debate a little bit. This used to be one of my main reading decks. And so it's a really good deck. We'll skip that one. The Empress has a little bit of nudity. It's a really good reading deck. Look at this judgment card. But some of the cards actually, when I'm looking at it more objectively, really don't go. There's that wand situation again. The way that I want it to go. And I think there's cards like the 9 of Cups and the Fool and the King of Cups that just always make me that I just love this deck for. But the more that I look at it, the more I'm like, I have not felt the desire to reach for this deck in a hot minute. Like I pretty much forget that I even have it. I love this Fool so much. But I'm looking at this now and I'm like, actually, I wonder if my time with this deck is coming to a close. The debate I'm having with myself is my time with this deck done? Am I ready to perhaps consider letting this go? I'm going to put this on the chopping block, actually, which I didn't think I was going to do, but I thought I was going to make decisions about what was going to stay and go in each of these videos. And I think what I'm going to do instead is sort of create a category of chopping block decks that I'm considering not keeping, rehoming, or putting in purgatory. And I've put this deck in purgatory before, actually. Even though it was so beloved to me for a time, I feel like it was one of those, it came into my life for a reason or a season sort of decks. But I think I'm going to create a category of sort of chopping block decks, and I'm going to reevaluate those at the end of this series. So I am actually thinking of putting the Magical Nature deck on the chopping block. It is a gorgeous deck, and I had a lot of fun reading with it. I have a lot of fun with the cardstock, but it feels like it's slipping to the back of my mind already in my collection when I'm like, oh, what people-y deck do I want to work with? What modern deck do I want to work with? Or what? This one is not coming to mind already. It's not sort of gripping me the way that I feel like I want my decks to grip me. So I think I am going to put this in the chopping block pile. I don't know that it's not safe. It's still relatively new, but I'm certainly thinking about it. So I'm going to pop that into that category as well. But man, these are cozy decks to look at. And the sasuraibito are actually, the funny thing about that one, I struggled with what category to put it in. Yes, it feels comforting and there's a cozy element to it. It feels a little bit like, I don't know, like a hot cup of tea. It does a bit. But also, I think part of the reason I struggled with what category is because it hasn't been something that has felt like in my practice for a while now. Okay, let's look at another one. Another comforting deck in my collection is the Spacious Tarot. Now this one has the expansion. I resisted getting this for a long time, and in fact this was sent to me by the creators. I think this one is going out of print. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw somewhere that the creators weren't going to continue with this one. Now the expansion makes it into a bit of a, I think it's called a triumphy maybe? Because it's got like the signs. I think they're really well done. This deck is so aptly named. It absolutely does feel spacious. Here's the thing about this. When I think of this deck, another deck that I think of, which is in my minis, is the White Sage Tarot. This is another one that does get pippy in places. This is a very calming deck. Oh, I love that Hierophant. I find it really easy to work with. Maybe it's just my mood, but I'm thinking of actually putting this in the chopping block. Not because I don't love it. I do love it. It would definitely be one that I think I sit in purgatory for a while. Maybe it's just that there's very few decks that are devoid of people that I tend to reach for regularly. But I do, and I have several like decks that are just straight up pip decks when I want to skip out on people. And this one falls into a space where it reminds me of some other things in my collection that I tend to like a little bit more. But I really think this is an excellent deck. And this would be one that if I did decide to quote unquote declutter it, it would just go into purgatory for a while. I would not be in a rush because obviously this is going out of print, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that. Love that Nine of Cups. I think it's really clever. Yeah, I think actually I am going to put this on the chopping block. I don't know that it's really in any serious danger, but I feel like, again, it's just hitting this space where it's like, is it something that I have really, really feel called to work with going forward? And I don't know the answer to that. So I'm going to put that in the chopping block section also. This is interesting how this is going. This one is about as safe as they come. And probably if I were to pick my most soothing decks, gosh, this is right up there at the tippy top of the list alongside the Guardian Angel Tarot and the Flow Tarot. Like if I'm in crisis, this is my deck. I talk about it a lot on the channel, but it's called Align Heart, Affirmations Oracle by Kimberly San. Kimberly is also the creator of the Way of the Panda Tarot. This is such a special creation that she made. I can't shut up about it. It's really smart and it's very, very soothing. It's words on cards and it is the most well done. Like look at this. Look at the little rainbow holographics like UV gloss that in the shape of a heart on every card. Like this is really special. Now the current version of this has dark text on a light background. It's apparently much easier to see. I go back and forth with myself about whether I want to grab that version. I debate constantly, but I'm fairly bonded to this copy and it just feels wasteful because I do like this one and I can read it. Oh, that color kind of matches my nail polish. Anyway, I really love this because it is an affirmation deck, but it's not just like a fluffy deck. I've talked about that a lot, but it's like you are exactly where you need to be in life. Your pain is real. It validates it. It's like a deck that listens. I don't know how else to describe it, but it feels like it's not just like platitudes, but actual meaningful messages that allow you to just slow down. It feels trauma informed but I think that was like I don't want to say it wasn't trauma informed, but when I say that, what I mean is more intuitively, instinctively trauma informed. Like I think this comes from very real places from the creator. And as such, it feels like it goes right to places that need that kind of support in me. And as somebody who deals with a lot of like repercussions from complex trauma, a deck like this that makes me feel so seen and heard is invaluable. It is priceless. This is like one of those decks that I think that it would be the most difficult to replace. Like if this went out of print, it's not just that this specific copy would be difficult to replace. It's that I've never had another deck make me feel the way this deck makes me feel. It very much sits alone in my collection, so it is 100% super safe and secure. I don't really use the guidebook much, but I've never even put this in a bag because I just will literally like just take this with me everywhere if I'm going through a rough time. So it just lives just like this in its box. It lives with my bedtime decks for now, but it is priceless. Priceless to me. This next deck is more of a nostalgia thing for me. It's out of print, and this takes me back to like my yoga teacher days because I actually had this at my yoga studio. This is called Doodles. It's by an artist who goes by the name Molecules, and this was the Doodles deck of cards. And they're this like massive size. Like here's the Flow Tarot, which is like a standard tarot card size, right? And it's like they're like double wides. It's like a double wide deck. The Doodles are these like little Zen Buddhist kind of sayings and quotes and like little messages. Music in the soul can be heard by the universe. Gratitude for rest. Follow your inner star. These were really great for me to just pull out. I actually had purchased some prints from Molecules and had them hanging on the walls of my yoga studio. And then I had this deck of cards handy. The roots of goodness lie in the soil of appreciation. Gratitude for stillness. They're wonderful little meditation prompts, and they're just so sweet. They make me happy. I don't think I'm going to put this in the chopping block. I'd be nuts. It makes a really great bedtime deck. So it is in my bedtime basket, my bedtime deck basket. Each day is a blessing. Be, forgive layer by layer, reset, gratitude for friendship. I don't mean to like show things that are difficult to get or out of print, but like this deck just makes me so happy. It's very vibrant color. It's super glossy, so it feels almost like you're holding all these like little art prints. I can shuffle this. I will demonstrate because it's very flexy cardstock, but I just take, they're bendy enough and that works just fine. So just giving it a little shuffle and pulling a single card. Gratitude. Yeah, this is staying. What am I talking about? I don't even feel a little bit tempted. And I was very enchanted by this particular bag match because look, when I found this fabric, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like all these like little confetti things, just like this tree has all those little confetti things in it. Oh my God, perfect. It's perfect. Anyways, that's going back in my bedtime basket. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of like complex trauma, this deck feels like it was made for that. This is such a special one, but I actually don't really work with it much. I did work with it for an entire year. This is the Creative Consciousness Healing Cards. It's a 44 card deck by Johanna Wright. It's for self-healing and self-care. And the messages in here are really beautiful and they have creative visualizations. If you're looking for a deck specifically to do healing work, particularly if you are somebody who has a lot of trauma in your background, you might really enjoy this. There's something very supportive from like an inner child perspective about this. And you know what? It's funny. I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking about another deck that I have in my pile here. And I actually think, I was like, oh, I could probably put this on the chopping block. But here's the thing about this. The cards themselves are great, right? Geode, transforming addictive thinking, breathe, healing with your breath. But what's really valuable about this are these little meditations because they're very, very easy to, these little visualizations, they're very easy to read and then just do. It's not like you have to like record it, at least for me. I don't feel like I have to record it. I just read it and then imagine it. And it does a really, really great job. Plus there's journal prompts. Oh, this one I feel like is like a little mini practice. And what I did is I used these in my envelope readings in 2024, and getting one of these every month was really wonderful because I could pull it, do the visualization, sit with that energy, get that little bit of healing. Oh, I really like this. This one needs to stay. Who published this, by the way? Oh, Andrews McNeil. Great job, Andrews McNeil. Y'all did real good on this. Moon Path. Sometimes the Moon Path is taking the next right step, or composting is decomposing energetic cords. Past self, connecting with what was. Violet flame, burning away what's no longer needed. There's cards in here about boundaries, but it's all very, very gentle. And you know what? I'm saying that. This just is very functional for what it does. It's very functional. And the book is what makes it, I think, such a great little thing to pull into a practice. It's very interactive. It doesn't feel like it's just a deck of cards. Like I wouldn't pull this to use like as an oracle deck, like generally. I would pull this, I pull this for myself for doing my own work, and it's really supportive in that way. And now that I'm thinking about this, I think I need to put this in with my bedtime deck basket and pull it into that rotation, because I think there's something really nourishing about doing a little visualization right before bed. I think I'm going to do that and try it that way, because I think it might get more play in my collection that way. But here's the deck that I'm considering it might replace for me. This is the I'm Here deck. Now this is a different version, because this was actually a prototype that was sent to me by Murphy before the Kickstarter, or maybe at the beginning of the Kickstarter campaign for this deck. But I just like the quality of this one. I actually let go of the final production copy version. I actually really like this little prototype better. Here's what I'm realizing looking at this. This deck, the work of this deck is actually, I've already got decks that do this work for me. I initially got this thinking it would be great for self-care client readings, but I don't tend to reach for it much for that. And the messages and the themes explored by this deck, I think, are actually covered really well in the Align Heart Oracle and in that Creative Consciousness Healing cards. And those give me more guidance or are just give me more of the warm fuzzies. But this is really beautiful. I don't see myself reaching for this. I've had it for a long time. I've worked with it off and on for a long time. But I think this is too close to the function filled from, like the function that the Align Heart deck does for me, the Align Heart Affirmations deck does for me, is kind of the same function that this deck does for me. But I'm so much more bonded with Align Heart that I think this one is going to go on the chopping block. Okay. I'm really undecided about this guy. The Little Frog's Guide to Self-Care. 52 affirmation cards for self-love and empowerment. Now, this is one that I think would be really fun to pull in for if I was going to pull a message for client readings, maybe? I don't know. This is such a fun and silly little deck. It came with a little card stand, which is so fun. But let's take a look. This was Tara made me do it. She's so influential for me, but like it's so ridiculous and silly. Like it's like a frog with high heels. Like, how do you not love it? But it's funny, I see it in its box and I think the cards are huge, but they're not. They're this size. So I think I might need to actually put this in a little bag if I'm going to continue to use it. But let's like take a look at the cards and see. I haven't used this a ton, but I do like these affirmations. Just as the world is always changing and evolving, so am I. I surround myself with people who really see me. I'm becoming the kind of person I'd love to meet. I'm allowed to rest without guilt. I can be empathetic without being consumed by struggles that are not mine to carry. These are actually great. And if I wanted a good all-rounder like self-care deck for clients or for myself, I feel like this one is perfect. I have the ability to reframe my emotions in a way that I can learn from them. I know bad days do not last forever. I'm more than my struggles. I do not expect perfection from others, so I will not expect it from myself. Oh my God, this is so good. Why am I not just keeping this out on my table and like pulling cards? You know what? That's what I'm going to do. So I have like a little card stand where I have been keeping a deck-in card, and I think I'm going to frickin' right now shuffle a card for myself and pull one. And I think I'm going to keep these with my deck-in cards and pull one. Every time I pull a new deck-in, I'm going to pull one of these because I'm loving these messages. I will not be overly critical of myself or others. Yep, that's gonna live with my deck-ins. Oh my God, that's the best thing ever. Okay, I'm sorry I'm not showing it. Here it is. This is actually not the deck-in I think we're on right now. I think it's, especially at the time you're seeing this because I'm filming this ahead of time. But look at these. Like I can have my deck-in for like a focus, embrace contradiction, and critical. I love this so much. Okay, well this deck's staying out now. I think what I need to do is put the box away in storage. And I need a little bag to hold my froggies. You know what? I'm making this harder for myself than I need to. I'm just going to use the box. I'm just going to use the box. And I'm just going to keep this with my deck-in cards and pull a card every time I switch to a new deck-in. I think that's going to be a lovely practice. That's what I'm going to do. Because that's fun. I don't know that I would pull those for clients, but I might. But like, that feels great. I think that's... God, that makes me happy to look at. Okay, yeah, I'm really glad I pulled that back out. Okay, and then the last deck in my comforting deck collection is for me a classic comforting deck, and it's a classic bedtime deck for me as well, and it is the Song of the Grandmothers 66 card Oracle deck and guidebook. Now this is, for all intents and purposes, actually a deck that you would think belongs in my like nature-y decks section of my collection. However, it is just the best thing for a bedtime pull. Seek the Foundation, Curiosity. It's got like a little something of nature, right? Animals, plants, weather, herbs. And then there's these like little haikus right on the cards. And it's like grandmother energy. Like, how great is this? This was illustrated by Mari in the Sky, the same creator who did the Gentle Tarot. It is, of course, great paired with the Gentle Tarot, but I really like this just on its own as just a cozy deck. It's the kind of thing, though, that I like working with on its own. Like, it does feel like I'm getting this like little bit of nature wisdom. And if you are in my channel membership and you came along with me for our Exquisite Familiars Tarot Test Drive we did in May, then this would make a really good deck in that guides position of the spread we crafted together. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I apologize. But my badass unicorns and I did a thing anyways, and we created a spread, and one of the positions like needs like a guide type energy, and that's what I used Exquisite Familiars for. But a deck like this would be so great in that position, or in position of like the medicine. Oh my gosh, I just love this deck so much. This also lives in my bedtime deck basket, which is kind of like by itself. My bedtime deck basket is kind of like a mini basket of like comforting decks, although I didn't categorize everything in my bedtime basket like as a comforting deck. All right, you all. So we have 4 decks on the chopping block from this little mini collection. I'll have links, of course, to everything I discussed down below, unless it's out of print, and then it'll say, OOP, sorry, because that's what I put in my description box when a deck is out of print. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. These are a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing my compelling decks next, so keep an eye out for that video to come up on the channel in the next few weeks. But in the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out. An extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you all so much for everything you do to support the channel. It means a lot. If you're interested in Unicorn Fam membership, you can click the join button down below. That will not automatically join you. It will give you some more information, and then you can check it out and decide if that makes sense for you. But to everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Do be sure and check out the Unicorn's Journey Oracle Kickstarter if you are interested in that deck. I'm really excited for it to launch. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, click the like button, leave a comment if you have anything to share, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see my videos in your subscription feed. And until next time, y'all, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!